It's December 10th, JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today in the Treasury Titans. Man, Michael Saylor on a camel looking good as he is continuing his tour through the Middle East. His presentation at Bitcoin Mania, which is Middle East, North Africa, that was absolutely incredible. If you haven't watched it, please do. I'll be highlighting some clips in future episodes of this show for sure, because it was such a masterclass. And again, if you watch these presentations, you continue to see the evolving of Michael Saylor, the evolving of the strategy for strategy. It's such a beautiful thing to see. I mean, we are watching the most valuable and the most powerful company of all time. That's, I'm projecting that into the future because I believe it. But the one day most powerful and valuable company in the world, we're watching them evolve in real time. I mean, this is what people must have felt like when they actually saw Steve Jobs pull the iPod out of his pocket and said, 1,000 songs in my pocket. And they got it. Very few people understood the sheer magnitude of that moment. This moment is so much bigger on so many more levels, but it's the only thing I can think to compare it to, like in my kind of lifetime, in my generation. So absolutely loving all that Michael Saylor is doing. Thank you for letting us ride that camel with you, Michael Saylor, because it is a thing of beauty. Chris says, the huge irony about MSTR is that the business model is so simple that it's easy to completely miss it. Here it is in 5 steps. 1, strategy securitizes Bitcoin by creating financial products engineered to attract different types of investors based on their volatility, risk, and return goals. 2, investors deploy capital into those products. 3, capital raised via prefs, the digital credit, is used to buy Bitcoin at highly accretive levels, which generates Bitcoin yield and increases Bitcoin per share for common stockholders. 4, capital raised via common stock is used to buy Bitcoin or build the USD reserve. 5, the USD reserve is used to fund the dividend obligations. You're welcome. And here is the strategy business model. We have retail investors and we have institutional investors. They're both pouring money into one of these 5 preferreds is one of the ways that they're doing this. One of these 4 preferreds or the common, which is Stretch, Strife, Strike, and Stride. And of course, we have Stream as well, which could be added to this graphic. And again, it's dependent on their profile. Do they want the highest possible return because they trust Bitcoin? They'll go with Stride, which is like around 12.5% right now. Do they want a piece of the upside? They'll go with Strike. Do they want just the best capitalized asset, the quote unquote safest? They'll go with Strife. Do they want to get paid out monthly and just not have to worry about any kind of volatility? That's Stretch. And what does it do? It all gets siphoned into the Bitcoin treasury. End of story. MSTR, of course, ATMs, and goes into the Bitcoin treasury and then also into the USD reserve, which is how they fund these dividends, which is this green arrow. And it's this beautiful just cycle effect of simplicity. Again, money comes in, the money that goes into MSTR goes into the USD reserve or BTC treasury in the form of ATMing of the stock when it makes sense, when the seller wants to. The money that goes into these 4 products, and now 5 with Stream and soon to be more, when it makes sense to ATM those, the money goes into the Bitcoin treasury. And then out of the USD reserve comes the dividends. End of story. Anthony Scaramucci says, was looking for the smartest person in crypto here in Abu Dhabi, and I think I found him. Saylor will be right. Now, I don't know a ton about Anthony Scaramucci. I've heard this and that from him over the years, but I have to agree with him on this point that Saylor will be right. I would actually qualify that by saying, since 2020, Saylor has been right and will continue to be right. So here we go. Ragnar says, what a strategy sold $500 million to $1 billion of common stock per week at 1x MNAV and single-handedly pushed Bitcoin up to new all-time highs. At the current 1.17 MNAV, it would even generate Bitcoin yield. The second order effects would be very interesting. Plus larger balance sheet, plus higher Bitcoin price, plus more capacity to sell prefs, plus actively improve market sentiment, which would lead to MNAV expansion. Thoughts? ? And this is from the British HODL posting about Saylor's quote of, "We are acquiring 500 million to 1 billion a week of Bitcoin. We can buy more Bitcoin than the sellers can sell." Strategy Mackie said, "This is the most important slide from the Saylor keynote in Abu Dhabi. Back your currency with Stretch. Banks will line up to buy Stretch from Strategy. Strategy has effectively replaced the U.S. Treasury." Now, it's a little blurry here, unfortunately, but I think you get the picture. Digital money can be constructed with digital credit, which is Stretch. And he shows just how that can be done. How powerful is this if anybody adopts it for MSTR shareholders? Monumental. Joe Burnett says digital capital is into digital credit, into digital money. Saylor may have just given the most bullish Bitcoin presentation of all time at Bitcoin Mania. Hyper Bitcoinization is happening. Joe, by the way, is not somebody that's like this kind of just pure hype train. This guy is a measured individual. So when he says it might be the most bullish presentation of all time, he literally means it. And it's literally true. Bitcoin says, Justin, Saylor says China will copy the United States Bitcoin strategy. Global Bitcoin adoption is accelerating heading into 2026. Look out above. Also, Bitcoin Archive says, Justin, Michael Saylor says all major U.S. banks have contacted him for Bitcoin advice. This is getting a little crazy, my friends. And we all have to go back to the core, which builds it all. Strategy efficiently channels digital energy into digital credit. We have built the world's first digital credit vehicle. You guys have seen this before. You're going to see it again because it's a thing of beauty. Stripe Stream, Stretch, Strike, Stride. Right here, boom, just paying dividends. We have a $1.4 billion USD reserve, which I think is going to be increased to at least 24 to 36 months. We have $61 billion of Bitcoin, which of course is going to increase as Bitcoin increases. And then what does it do? The Bitcoin derivatives, the Bitcoin, the MSTR, the engine is flowing. Let's go. Speaking of flowing, MetaPlanet says Zincs close up over 12% today in Japan. It wasn't my intention to post price updates every day, but it keeps performing. This is the highest it's been since October. It really does start to feel like we've a corner has been turned bullish on MetaPlanet. And I posted somewhere down here. Well, maybe it's not showing up quite yet, but I did post, basically keep posting about it because MetaPlanet is one of the treasury titans. So let's keep this ship going. And I think they're going to have a huge 2026. All right, I've got a great video clip from Michael Saylor you're not going to want to miss. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. When you're ready to build your complete business identity, you want to do it fast and right. With Northwest Registered Agent, you can build your business identity in just 10 clicks in 10 minutes. When you want more, start your business with Northwest. Everything you need to launch and protect your business all in one place. Your business identity isn't just your logo or website, it's everything that represents you. From what customers see to what they don't, legal filings, state licenses, secure domains, and compliance tools. Northwest gives you more privacy, more tools, and more guidance so you can focus on growing your dream. For nearly 30 years, Northwest has helped entrepreneurs like us build confidently. You can form your business for just $39 plus state fees, backed by real corporate guides, people who know your state's laws and have your back every step of the way. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks in 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/paidJLD and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/paidJLD. Michael Saylor just made an $835 million bet buying the Bitcoin dip. Right now, Bitcoin's fallen almost 40% off its October high, and the big money is buying the dip. What's your strategy? Now might be a great time to convert your IRA or 401k to Bitcoin with the help of Bit IRA. Plus, you can fund it with pre-tax funds, then continue to invest it over time as you do any other retirement accounts. Bit IRA protects your assets with end-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and registered with the U.S. government. Your IRA is fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without incurring taxes on any buys or sells. Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Bitcoin has proven time and time again to rebound, every cycle going from a higher low to a higher high. With Strategy's latest purchase, Michael Saylor clearly believes Bitcoin is at a discount. Time for you to get in too. Go to bitira.com/JLD to open a tax-sheltered IRA in Bitcoin.
This is a snapshot of our capital structure. Right now, about $60 billion of BTC reserves against about $8 billion in debt. So it's a fairly low leverage ratio. We have about 73 years worth of dividends. The company pays out $800 million of dividends a year. For us to pay that money forever and grow shareholder value, Bitcoin would have to appreciate 1.36% a year. That's the cruise speed. So when you think about what our bet is that Bitcoin will appreciate more than 1.36% a year. If it does, we win. It's just that, by the way, the equity wins. If it doesn't, then the equity isn't a good investment. What we did this week was we raised a $1.44 billion US dollar reserve, and that gives us 21 months of dividends. We did that so that we could pay the dividends without selling equity or BTC derivatives or BTC if none of those capital markets were open to us. You could think of it as we can hold our breath for 21 months. Like if the market is irrational or closed for 21 months, we can just pay out of this reserve. It's like a battery. And so the company's strategy is when our equity is trading above the net asset value of the Bitcoin, we just sell the equity. It creates shareholder value. And when the equity is trading below the value of the Bitcoin, we would either sell Bitcoin derivatives or we would just sell the Bitcoin. You could think of it as, here you have a spaceship. What is our goal? Our goal, by the way, is to create the best digital credit. Our goal is to provide you with a bank account that pays you 10% instead of your bank that pays you 4, 3, or 2, or 0. That's what STRC is. So that's our goal. The way we do it is we have a Bitcoin reactor, crypto reactor in the middle of the company. It's charging a battery. The battery is a US dollar battery. The battery is for short term. The reactor should presumably, if Bitcoin appreciates 1.3% a year, the battery runs forever, or the crypto reactor runs forever, right? If Bitcoin appreciates 0, then the reactor runs for 73 years. And then we just fuel the entire machine either in the equity capital markets or the BTC market or the BTC derivatives market. I'm going to skip this in the interest of time. Important point I'll make here is we have a credit model. It's on our website. We update it every 15 seconds. You can pretty much plug in any assumption you want about Bitcoin and volatility and ARR, and you'll get out the risk. We just got rated by the S&P. Our goal is to be the first investment grade Bitcoin holder and the first investment grade crypto company where we can issue investment grade debt. We have to start at the bottom and crawl our way up. So we start with a B rating or a B minus rating from the S&P. We got this before we raised the $1.4 billion of reserves. Hopefully we'll get upgraded over time. But what that did do is it allows us to sell credit to an entire class of credit investors that have to have a rating. So it tripled the capital market for our credit when we got that rating. So that was a good thing. What is the company doing? We're transforming capital to credit. You have a 5-year-old kid. You can give them an acre of land in New York City. That's capital. And you can say in 10 to 30 years, you can either sell this land or you can refinance this land. And in the meantime, there's no cash flow. That's a capital investor. On the other hand, you can also give the kid an annuity. This is an annuity and it pays you $10,000 a month forever. That's credit. If you want to give the kid $10,000 a month forever, you give them a credit instrument. If you want to give them the ability to get rich in 30 years, you give them the capital. Bitcoin is capital. It's volatile. It's high performance. There's a lot of people that don't want it. The world is built on capital, but the world runs on credit. And so in order to convert capital into credit, you take BTC currency and you make it USD, or you make it euros, or we could create JPY. You strip the risk by over collateralizing it. You damp the volatility by giving it a par value or liquidation preference, and by managing, say, the dividend rate. You extract or distill the yield. You can set the yield, say at 10% or whatever percent you want, and adjust it. And then you compress the duration. The capital investor, you own Bitcoin, I say you got to hold it for 10 years, you'll get rich. But you get no money between now and then. The credit investor is, I'm going to give you immediate gratification. I'm going to start giving you cash dividends next month, every month. Okay, there's a place for both. In fact, the average person has certain money they need to have in credit and other money they need to have in capital. What we're doing is transforming digital capital to digital credit.
What's the second best? There is no second best.